Hi, everybody. Welcome to the backstage interview. This time I've got Brian Howlett, CEO of Hemlo Explorers, with me. Hemlo presented at the MIF conference in October 2020, and I really wanted to ask Brian a couple extra questions that we didn't have time for. And Brian, I guess the big one for me is Hemlo is one of the biggest stories in Canadian mining. Really, it's produced over 20 million ounces, fantastic grade. It's in Ontario. It's close to Toronto. Why has there not been more activity and money spent on this camp? Why have I not heard more about this camp in the last 10, 15 years?
Well, that's a very good question, Keith. I will tell you that the Hemlo mine has been running since 1985 and continues today and will continue for another 8 to 10 years. So it is truly a prolific camp, and we believe we are the best positioned in the West, best financed to be there. There are about a dozen companies in the area. Most of them, there's a couple that are private. A couple of them have kind of run into a wall and are broke. So they have done a lot of work, but it's not been, I would say, well done. And I think we're taking a whole new approach to it, and we're going to go a lot deeper.
Tell me about this new approach. What are you guys doing that's a little bit different than anybody else has done in the past?
Well, in particular, I'd like to talk about our North Limb project, because that's the focus of this year. We have this project. It's about 15 kilometers in strike, and it has about 66 holes in it already. But the deepest we see there is about 225 meters. And in Hemlo, all the gold happens at 500 meters and below. But what's really good about having all those holes is it gives us a lot of information to help better target our drill program. We are hoping to begin that drill program sometime in November.
So, all right, so I'm hearing that you've got a new asset, part of the asset there. And one thing we talked about just before we started here was the difference in technology that you guys are going to have the advantage of. You want to explain a little bit about that to investors?
Yeah, well, the tools that geologists have today in terms of magnetics, airborne mags, are a lot more accurate. They're more expensive to run, but they're very accurate in terms of pinpointing where you want to be on a deposit. The resolution goes deeper and is much more evident when you see it on a map.
Okay, so in terms of being able to pinpoint drilling and really kind of hone in on it, like this is a big property. So I guess in terms of your first drill holes, which from a market point of view are always really important, this is going to allow you to get a lot better handle on what's going on. Absolutely.
I mean, there will be drill holes done that won't be that deep, just to understand what the rock structure looks like. We're looking for particularly rocks that match what we have in the Barrick has in the Hemlo camp. So we're looking for the similar rocks and looking for the similar structure that will give us confidence to go a lot deeper.
Because you're not actually, so you're in the same area, but you're not actually right beside the mine or even a kilometer or two away. You're quite a ways away.
Yeah. We're about 15 kilometers due north of the Williams mine, which is the third mine in the area, which is running. But we believe that we share the same rocks that they do, and that's going to be key as we go down. It's a style of mineralization, a style of volcanics, and even age of rocks. And so we're going to do some work on aging and really understand what we have, because these will be deep, expensive holes.
Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. So you are blessed with a fabulous share structure and some great core shareholders. You want to tell us a little bit about who they are and update shareholders on where you're at in terms of keeping your share structure so tight?
Yeah, we've got as you said, we have a very tight share structure. We've got 27 million shares outstanding. We have two major shareholders. One is Northfield Capital. It owns about 23% of Hemlo Explorers and is there for every financing, and really will ensure that they will bring other shareholders to the party. The other group that's behind us is Osisko. It's mostly owned through O3, which is a subsidiary of Osisko, but it's part of that whole group, and they own about 14%. We also have one major broker in Toronto with about 10 or 12% in his book, and he's not a seller. And then there's a couple of other large shareholders with 3 and 4%. So, give you an example. I had to get shareholder approval for something, and I needed 50%, and it took me 2 hours by phone. That's how tight it is. So the last financing we did for $3.5 million, we brought a lot of new shareholders in, and we're glad to have a broadened retail base. And part of reaching out here is to get the story out to a broader audience.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the drill program that you're going to start in November. How many drills, how many holes, how many meters, when does it start? Obviously winter drilling is something you do regularly. You want to give us a little update on how you see that happening over the next 4 or 6 months?
Absolutely, Keith. We are planning to start in about mid-November. We have constructed our camp. We have all that ready in a town called Manitouage, which is about 10 kilometers from our site. We're planning to have one drill to start. We may look at a second drill sometime in the new year, but not right away. And we're gonna drill 10 to 15,000 meters. We're funded for most of that right now, so we're going ahead full steam.
Now tell me a little bit about the style of mineralization here, because obviously you look at something like, Red Lake's quite veiny and narrow and it's deep. It could be tough to get, but you're targeting a slightly more broader style of mineralization. And so what is success for you, do you think? Like if you hit exactly what you're hoping to hit, what does that look like?
That remains to be seen, and I don't have a lot of information. I will tell you the original Hemlo discovery hole was about 7 grams over 4 meters. And that's what set off all of the exploration excitement and what brought that forward. So it's not, they tend to be small, rich, tight structures. So it's not veiny, but it'll be a broader type of structure.
Do they have big halos that you can kind of tell where you might be in this system, or is it truly quite discrete?
We haven't drilled deep enough yet to understand that. So,
well, at Hemlo, like that's a big mine. So you want to talk about maybe kind of how that story developed and what the
well, if you saw this week, they announced they're closing their open pit. They just announced that yesterday, the day before. So it is there are big, broad structures, but they're continuing underground. They've got I think they're on what they call Zone C, but they're following veins at that point.
And this is the third mine in the Hemlo camp.
Yes, there was the David Bell mine, the Golden Giant, and then now the Williams mine, and they're all within half a kilometer or kilometer of each other. They're all very tightly spaced.
So the open pit part, was that oxide? Is it all sulfides, or what kind of mineralization do you have there? Is that a possibility where you guys are, or you don't really see that?
I don't have that answer today. I'll have to work to build that story.
Got it.
I mean, our team is brand new. I will tell you, we now employ two people that worked at the Williams mine. We hired a second one this week, and they're telling me we have all the right structure and all the right rocks on our property that they do at the Barrick mine.
Got it. Okay. So how much money was raised at 70 cents?
There was $3.5 million. We raised 5 million units, and there's a half warrant attached to that at $1.20.
And so how far does that get us? Does that get us right through this? Will this year's winter program take up all that budget, or what's left over?
Yes.
In the spring?
If I get as much as I want done, we will use all that money, because we have about $4.2 million in the bank right now, and that'll get us through 10,000 meters. I'm going to assume we're going to be successful, so we'll look to get warrants exercised for another close to $4 million, and or raise more money at some point. But that's
and this
kind of
project would be eligible for flow through.
Yes. Yeah. Right now we don't have a lot of flow through. We are looking. The next raise we do will be flow through.
At least partially, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so
we're well funded with hard dollars.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, Brian, I think, for the 10 minutes we're allotted, we covered a lot of ground today. So very grateful for your time, and look forward to seeing the news release out sometime in November on drilling starting. These are big, deep holes. So realistically, we're not going to see any results till PDAC, just after PDAC.
Oh, I'm very hopeful we'll get results much sooner than that. Labs are very close to us, and they're prepared to work to get them done quickly.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time today, Brian.
Thanks very much, Keith.